So the necessity of religion is tracing how the religions started, how the inward search happened. Page number 18. And the search was inward. This is a very important statement. The last paragraph, page number 18. And the man continued inquiring more deeply in different stages of mind and discovered higher states than those either waking or dreaming. The state of things we find in the organized religions called ecstasy or inspiration. In all organized religions, their prophets, founders, messengers and declared have gone to the states of mind that were neither waking nor sleeping, in which they come face to face with a new series of facts relating to what is called the spiritual kingdom. Religions of Brahmins, that means the Vedas, is that Vedas are written by the Rishi. The Rishis were realized certain facts. The Rishi is a seer of mantras, drashta. They are declared, they have realized certain facts. We find the same truth declared by both Jews and Christians. So the idea is that you actually come face to face with the higher truths. What is the proof of anything? যে কোনো জিনিসের প্রমাণটা কি? তোমরা বসে আছো তো প্রমাণ কি? আমি দেখছি বলে, কল প্রত্যক্ষ প্রমাণ। প্রত্যক্ষভাবে আমি দেখছি বলে, it is true. Prataksha pramana is one of the most valid pramanas. Anumana also is possible, but Prataksha is the most vital. And then Swami Vivekananda says there are two kinds of Prataksha. One is Indriyaja Prataksha, other is Yogaja Prataksha. What are Prataksha? One is the Prataksha by the eyes, by the senses, by the ears and so on. The other is by the power of yoga, which is super sensory, beyond the senses. So in order to distinguish between Indriyaja Pratyaksha, which is usually called Pratyaksha, and the Yogaja Pratyaksha, which is beyond the senses, super sensory, use a different word for Yogaja Pratyaksha as Aparoksha. Opposite of Pratyaksha is Paroksha. That which is not Paroksha is Aparoksha. In Sanskrit, negatives and double negatives are very often used, as in Bengali also. আমি একেবারে এটা পছন্দ করি না তা না, লাইক দিস, এটা কি ভালো লাগে তোমার? আমি একেবারে ভালো লাগে না তা বলতে পারছি না, এটা ভালো লাগে বললেই হতো। So double negative sometimes is used to make some effect. I was told by one good Bengali gentleman that who is a great writer? The তিন বন্দ্যোপাধ্যায় আছে না, বলো নামগুলি। মানিক বন্দ্যোপাধ্যায়, বিভূতিভূষণ বন্দ্যোপাধ্যায়, তার সঙ্গে বিভূতিভূষণ বন্দ্যোপাধ্যায়, somebody told me, আমি খুব একটা বাংলা লিটারেচার জানি না, ও নাকি ডাবল নেগেটিভ খুব ইউজ করে। So that gentleman also keeps on using negative. স্বামী বিবেকানন্দ এরকম বলেছিলেন, তার দ্বারা সমস্ত বিশ্ব প্রভাবিত হয়নি আমরা বলিতে পারিতেছি না, প্রভাবিত হয়েছে বললেই হতো। So it's very common in Sanskrit, and a very interesting phrase is used for Swarga, heavens. In Swarga there is so much of joy. There is no dukkha, there is no old age, jara, there is no mrityu and so on. So the word for joy, happiness is called ka. Kam Brahma, Kham Brahma in the Chandogya Upanishad. Sukha is ka. So dukkha should be aka. So that which is not dukkha is naka. Double negative. So naka is the word which is used for swarga. So this is usually kind of roundabout way of placing things. So he says here that there is a claim by every religion that the Seers of the religion, the prophets and the founders of the religion had transcendental experience which they actually saw God. Moses is said to have seen God in a burning bush, and he got the 10 commandments from God. This is the genesis of all the Abrahamic religions. So Rishis also claim we actually saw the mantras. So Rishayaha mantra drashtaraha. Drashta means you see. I see. Ramakrishna also said, আপনি ভগবানকে দেখেছেন, ঈশ্বরকে দেখেছেন, কে জিজ্ঞেস করলো? নরেন্দ্রনাথ দত্ত. What did Ramakrishna say? দেখেছি বই কি, তোকে যেমন দেখছি সেরকম দেখছি, আরো স্পষ্টতরভাবে দেখছি. So I see God. Drishya dhatu means to see. The Upanishads and the Gita always use this Drishya dhatu. I don't know for what reason. Example 1, 2, 3, darshan. Tasmin drishte paravare. When you actually see the Supreme. Because among all the senses, the most powerful is the eye. চোখে দেখা সবচেয়ে বড় কিন্তু স্পষ্ট, কানে শোনা খানিকটা হতে পারে, তবুও কিন্তু ভেগলি চলে যেতে পারে. But the most clear perception is just you see. So Christ also said, what did he say? Blessed are the pure in heart, for they shall see God. So seeing God, pratyaksha anubhuti, is sakshad, aparokshad, brahma, etc. That's why he says here, so very commonly we see that the followers of these religions also, in the Buddhistic text there is an experience, etc. There's a, page number 20, there's a tremendous statement is made in all religions. Human mind at certain moments transcends not only the limitations of the senses, also the power of reason. This is a key sentence of the whole thesis. The human mind is a peculiar capacity of transcending itself. Can anybody transcend itself? আমি নিজেকে অতিক্রম করে নিজে যেতে পারি? The human mind has it. Praman? Anybody can think of a proof? Human mind, is it finite or infinite? Obviously it is finite, because you think of only finite objects. You can't. But the human mind is able to conceive of the infinite. Infinite এর ধারণা করতে পারছো তো? এই বিশাল ইনফিনিট. ইনফিনিট মানে কি তা জানি না, কিন্তু ইনফিনিট বলে বুঝি আমি. ইনফিনিট অনন্তের ধারণা করতে পারে মন. সেজন্য মন যদি অনন্ত না থাকে তাহলে ধারণা করতে পারতো না. তাহলে মন যদি অনন্ত থাকে তাহলে শান্ত হতে পারে না. So this is a paradox in life, that the human mind is both finite as well as infinite. Not only the human mind, every particle in this universe. There is a famous lecture by Swami Vivekananda which is called The Open Secret. Swamiji anek majar title ditten to attract people. The Open Secret, everybody will run behind. This is only Vedanta. There he says, take a particle of sand and try to find out more and more about it, go deeper and deeper and deeper, analyze it to the extreme, you will find it merges into infinite. Nobody can claim he knows everything about a small flower or an ant or a particle of sand. সম্পূর্ণভাবে ওটা জানি কেউ বলতে পারে না, কারণ অ্যানালাইজ করতে 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 তার মধ্যে এত ডাইমেনশনস আছে. So ultimately it appears to be as if it is infinite. সেজন্য রবীন্দ্রনাথ বলছেন অনন্ত শান্তের মধ্যে যেন উঁকি মেরে আছে. Anybody knows the line? Rabindranath line, famous line tota. The infinite, as it were, peeping through the finite. Amra সকলেই our real dimension is infinite. And this infinite, as it were, is peeping and expressing through the finite, which is the body and mind. Famous line, আমি তোমার মুখস্থ নেই ওটা রবীন্দ্রনাথের. হ্যাঁ ঠিক. অসীম কিন্তু সসীমের মধ্যে উকি মারছে না, এরকম আছে না? সীমার মধ্যে অসীম. Shima means finite. Ashim is infinite. So infinite, as it were, is expressing through the finite. Infinite is wearing a mask and peeping through the finite. Ultimately, Vedanta says we are all infinite, but encased in this body and the mind and senses, we appear to be finite. So explore deeper and deeper, the whole thing merges into the infinite. So all of us, all the universe, even the animate, inanimate, animals, plants, human beings, every one of them, in essence is infinite. কিন্তু ওটা অনন্ত হলেও শান্তের মতন প্রতিভাত হচ্ছে, এই প্যারাডক্সকে বুঝতে বুঝতে জীবনটা চলে গেল আমাদের. দ্যাট ইজ ইনকোয়ারি অফ রিলিজন. সেজন্য বলছেন দি সেন্স অফ ট্রান্সেন্ডেন্স. ট্রান্সেন্ডেন্স মানে বুঝো, অতিক্রম করে যাওয়া. আমরা সবগুলোকে অতিক্রম করতে পারি, নিজেকে অতিক্রম করতে পারি. ইট ইজ জাস্ট লাইক আই গিভ এন এক্সাম্পল. তুমি বালতির মধ্যে তোমাকে বসিয়ে দিল, আমি বালতিটা তোমাকে তুলতে পারি. I can put you inside a bucket and then pull you. Now, if I am inside the bucket, can I pull myself? আমি বালতির মধ্যে বসে নিজেকে তুলতে পারবো না কেন? Because of which law? Newton's third law. Newton's third law will prevent you from pulling yourself. এখানে তুমি পুল গেলে ওটাও তোমাকে পুল করবে. So it is not possible for you to pull yourself out of this infinitude by yourself. But the human mind has this capacity. নিজেকে transcend করার capacity আছে. This is a key sentence here. Tremendous fact, human mind transcends not only the limitations of senses, the power of reasoning. Human mind reason করে তো, reason মানে বুঝো তো, reason মানে পক্ষে বিপক্ষে দুটোর মধ্যে দৌদুল্যমান একটা মন ঠিক সিদ্ধান্তে চলে আসে. This is called oscillating between thesis and antithesis. Finally you come to a synthesis. This is called, Hegel proposed that we oscillate between thesis and antithesis. সেটাকে শুয়ে পড়ল লাস্টে, দেখো তো না সিগনেচার করো, বাট একদম শুয়ে পড়েছে মনে হচ্ছিল. ধীরে ধীরে এরকম স্ট্রেইট বসো না, সিগনেচার এমনি করা যাবে. Anyway, so human mind has this capacity. রিজনিং যেটা বলি, রিজনিংটা কি? আমরা তর্ক বলি এটাকে. তর্কের মধ্যে একটা পক্ষ আছে, এটা বিপক্ষ আছে. পক্ষ বিপক্ষের মধ্যে সংকল্প বিকল্প বলি আমরা বেদান্তে. সংকল্প বিকল্পের মধ্যে দৌদুল্যমান যেটা, তাদেরকে মন বলি, মানস বলি. কিন্তু এটা সিদ্ধান্তে আসে এক সময়. আর হেগেলিয়ান লজিক অফ অসিলেশন যেটা বলছে, ডায়ালেকট্রিক্স বলা হয় এটা, দ্বন্দ্ব. It says you oscillate between sankalpa and vikalpa, come to a siddhanta. From the siddhanta again there is a differentiation between sankalpa and vikalpa. So sankalpa vikalpatmak manas, and the buddhi which is beyond it is not intellect, it is the buddhi which is beyond intellect, it is intelligence, it's called dhi or pragya or medha. That decides that this is precisely this is this and this is not that. So the mind at certain moments can transcends itself. It comes face to face with facts it could never have sensed, never could reasoned out. These facts are the basis of the religions of the world. In science also, ultimate truth, Siddhanta, is not made by the mind through reasoning, but through an intuitive faculty which the scientists develop within themselves. By purity, by deep concentration, by being focused on the truth. বিশাল বিশাল যখন সিদ্ধান্তগুলো হয়েছে বিজ্ঞানের মধ্যেও বলছি, সেও কিন্তু রিজন করে আসে রে. It comes from a higher state than reasoning. And what does the reasoning mind do? Reasoning mind puts it in a formalism, in the formalistic logical framework. লজিকের মধ্যে ফেলছে, যেমন রামানুজের ইনটিউশনটা আমরা ওয়েল নোন। এই ছাড়াও যে কোনো বড় বড় সায়েন্টিস্ট হঠাৎ করে একটা ট্রুথকে ওরা ফিল করলো। সাধারণ ভাষা ইংরেজিতে বলে গাট ফিলিং বলে ওটা। এটা কি ঠিক এরকম লিখছিস কেন? যেমন এমসিকিউ, মাল্টিপল চয়েস, আন্দাজে মারে অনেকে, নেগেটিভ মার্কিং যদি না থাকে অনেক সময় মনে হয় এটা কি ঠিক হবে, লিখে দিক, মনে হচ্ছে এটাই ঠিক, মনে হচ্ছে। কী করে মনে হচ্ছে তোমার? রিজনিং করতে সময় নেই, তো ওটা চলে যাবে তোমার। তখন ভিতর থেকে মনে হয় এটাই ঠিক। পবিত্র অন্তঃকরণ যদি থাকে, মন যদি পবিত্র হয় ব্রহ্মচর্যের মাধ্যমে, আর নেতিবাচক চিন্তার অভাবের মাধ্যমে যত নেগেটিভ থটস আসবে ততই মনটা কিন্তু কনফিউশনে ভুগতে থাকবে। So that's why you're asked to cultivate positive thoughts, be pure in mind and body. Then within you say, I think this is right. I don't know. How do you know it is right? I don't know exactly how it is right, but I feel it is right. The feeling which arises from a stage which is beyond reasoning, in a pure heart, usually it is right. Even in administration, even in making a decision about your own life, this kind of gut feeling, this kind of higher level of thought beyond reasoning is necessary. Every one of us has to decide his life. Is very safe up to class 10, you are safe. Nothing to do, you are promoted also, whether you pass or fail, up to class 10. Then there's a crossroads, 11, 12. Should I go for science? Should I go for commerce? Should I go for arts? 3 options. Hey, what are you going to do? Usually we consider others. Peer group. Somebody goes here, so you go there. But no, I'm committed to science. I'll go for science. Then after plus 2, there's another crisis, crossroads. Should you go for technology, BTech? Or should you go for sciences? Or should you go for biotechnology? What are you going to choose? Nowadays it's very easy. ওখানে সিট পাওয়া যাচ্ছে, ঠিক আছে নিয়ে নাও। সাবজেক্ট পছন্দ কিনা না। বাড়িতে বলছে, প্রত্যেকটা বাড়িতে একটা মামা থাকবেন, একটা জেঠু থাকবেন, এই পড় তো এটাই পড়ো। কী করে ঠিক আছে, আমার পছন্দ কিনা সেটা প্রশ্ন না। সো ইউ গো বাই হোয়াট এভার পিপল সে, সেখানে একটা ক্রাইসিস। তারপরে গ্রো আপ, তারপরে চাকরি প্রবলেম, কোনখানে চাকরি, পশ্চিমবঙ্গের বাইরে যাব না ভিতরে থাকবো, কর্পোরেট সেক্টরে যাব না একাডেমিক লাইনে যাব। একাডেমিক লাইনে গিয়ে কী হবে এক সময় বলতো, বিকজ মাইনেটা অনেক কম ছিল। নাও দ্য ইজিয়েস্ট অ্যান্ড বেস্ট জব ইজ অ্যান একাডেমিক লাইন উইচ ইউ ডোন্ট হ্যাভ টু ডু এনিথিং, কিচ্ছু পড়াতে হবে না। ওই পুরনো নোটস আছে তোমার, ব্রাউন নোটস একটা হয়ে গেছে। অনেকে আবার ব্রাউন নোটস দেখে ঠাট্টা করে, তো সেদিন আবার চকচকে জেরক্স করে নেয় ওরা, সেম নোটস। নিউটনস লও চেঞ্জ হবে না, থিওরি অফ রিলেটিভিটিও চেঞ্জ হবে না, সেম পুরনো বই, সেটা নিয়ে মোটামুটি ম্যানেজ করলেই হয়ে যাবে। বিশাল মাইনে, পারলে একটা দুটো পেপার লিখবে, কলেজে ওটাও লাগবে না, 2-1 ক্লাস নিয়ে মোটামুটি বানান দিয়ে আছো। প্রচুর ছুটি, কোনো ঝামেলা কিচ্ছু নেই, এত আনন্দের না একাডেমিক লাইন, কোনো চ্যালেঞ্জ নেই না তোমার। সেজন্য আস্তে আস্তে স্ট্যাগনেন্ট হতে 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 শেষ হয়ে যায় ওরা। There are no challenges, nobody is going to challenge you. Academic লাইনে হিউজ মাইনে বাড়িয়ে দিল যখন, so about 15-20 years ago, সেজন্য ওখানে হাইলি লুক্রেটিভ। অনেকে বলছে ডাল একটা পুলিশে যাব, আরে পুলিশে মারামারি চ্যালেঞ্জ চাই আমার। আইআইটিতে পড়ে প্রচণ্ড কষ্ট পেয়ে করে অসাধারণ কম্পিট করে একটা ভালো রেজাল্ট করে আইআইটিতে কম্পিউটার সায়েন্সে, আইআইটিতে মেকানিক্যাল ইঞ্জিনিয়ারিং ইত্যাদি গেল, বিটেক করলো, তারপরে কী করলো ম্যানেজমেন্ট, আইআইটি বম্বে, আইআইটি দিল্লি, তারপরে আইআইএম আহমেদাবাদ, আইআইএম লখনৌ, MBA। তারপরে কী করছে, বিশাল একটা চাকরি পেল, টাইটান ওয়াচ, খাইতান ফ্যান আর সাবন বিক্রি করে বেড়াচ্ছে। That's what people do. অনেক আমার বন্ধুরা আছে, মানে কী করছিস এটা, ইলেকট্রনিক্স ইঞ্জিনিয়ারিংয়ে বিশাল করে এখানে বলছে সাবান কী করে বিক্রি করা যায়, হাউ টু কম্পিট উইথ ইউর কম্পিটিটর। আমাদের সারাক্ষণ অন্তরিক্ষেই থাকে ওরা, ভূমিতে পা পড়ে না ওদের। শেষ পর্যন্ত ফ্রাস্ট্রেশনে ভুগে, তবে আর ভালো লাগছে না, স্যাটিসফ্যাকশন আসে না, তবে কোথায় গেলি কেন, টাকা, পাওয়ার, পজিশন, জেনারেল ম্যানেজার অফ আ কোম্পানি, প্রাইভেট কোম্পানি, এনি টাইম ইউ আর স্যাকড। আমার পুরনো বন্ধু একজন কাঁদতে কাঁদতে বললো, I lost my job. What did you do? I don't know. They didn't like me. একটা চিঠি ধরে এলো, from tomorrow please don't come. You are sacked. You are fired. বর্তমানে যেটা চলছে, you know the fire, who fires? You are fired. America first. What is it? Mapa na? Maka. MAGA. Make America great again. MAGA. You are fired. You are fired, but immediately get another job. But ultimately, where are you? What are you? So all your talent is wasted. That's what we do. So what are we supposed to do? We don't know. কিসের জন্য করছি, এরপরে কী হবে, চলছে চলুক না, আবার পরে দেখা যাবে। We keep on postponing decisions. But from a pure antakarana, clearly you decide, this is my line, this is what I am going to do, and there I will succeed. That's what he says here. They are facts, you can put them to reason. All the existing religions of the world claim for the human mind this peculiar power of transcending the limits of senses, the limits of reason. And this power they put forward as a statement of fact. The human mind has the capacity to transcend the limits of senses and the limits of reason. One characteristic common to all the religions, he says, abstractions as contrasted with concrete discoveries of physics, for example, all highly organized religions, they take the purest form of unit abstraction, either in the form of abstracted presence, as an omnipresent being, an abstracted personality called God, a moral law, or in the form of abstract essence underlying every existence. সবগুলোতে abstraction নিয়ে চলে যাওয়া। Exactly, you don't know. Abstract is what you see, what you can experience. But there's an abstract entity, impersonal, unknown, whether you can know at all, you do not know. Abstract entity, you call it God, or you call it the moral law. It is supremely moral একটা law আছে, এটা নৈতিক একটি সত্তা রয়েছে, and you are governed by that law. In Hinduism it's called Ritam. Ritam, Om Hrim Ritam Tvamachalo, Swamiji wrote. Ritam is the cosmic order, the moral law which governs the entire universe. Why is it that the sun and the moon follow exactly the path which is laid to them? When we were children, we used to be terribly afraid. We used to ask our teachers, Kichu hobe na to? So look at the complicated motion. Earth is rotating around itself. জানো তো, আমরা বসে আছি এখানে, তার নাম হচ্ছে ভূমি, পৃথিবী। পৃথিবী নিজের অ্যাক্সিসে ঘুরছে, আবার বাঁকা আছে, আবার 23.5 না, এরকম করে ঘুরছে। ঘুরতে ঘুরতে ইট ইজ গোয়িং অ্যারাউন্ড দ্য সান। কি কঠিন জিনিস দেখো, এটা করতে করতে করতে, অ্যান্ড ইজ রোটেটিং অ্যারাউন্ড ইটসেলফ অ্যান্ড গোয়িং অ্যারাউন্ড দ্য সান, অ্যান্ড দ্য মুন ইজ রোটেটিং অ্যারাউন্ড ইটসেলফ গোয়িং অ্যারাউন্ড দ্য আর্থ। মাল্টিপল মুনস বলছে, কোনো some of the planets have multiple moons. কোথায় গিয়ে ধাক্কা খাবে না? If half a second they miss, moon misses half a second, immediately will dash with the earth. But we are happily sitting here smiling. We are not afraid that some calamity will happen. Why? আমরা কখনো ভাবতে পারি না, কোনো সময় একটুখানি ঘুমিয়ে পড়ে মুন, একটুখানি মিস করে ট্রেমেন্ডাস ক্র্যাশ হয়ে যেত। কেন আমরা নিশ্চিন্তে আছি? It's governed by a moral law called Ritam. Every particle has to exactly obey that. And inside the atom, electrons are revolving, everything is revolving. Jagate kothao kintu revolution chhada kichu nei. Rotational motion. That's why rotational motion is so important. And the rotational motion, when it is projected onto a diameter, it is called simple harmonic motion. Whole world is either simple harmonic motion or rotational motion. Both of them are one and the same thing. Entire world. There is nothing which is static. Everything is rotating. Everything going in simple harmonic motion. Even seasons. The season come and go. Now you are feeling very cold. After some there will be the summer season. After there will be rainy season. They come and go, rotating continuously. During the COVID, everything was online. And the students had to fill up the form, etc., only through portals. And then if they are in difficulty, they are asked to write in the chat box, what's your difficulty? One boy wrote, not opening, portal, I try, not open, rotating. Ante bujhate jacche. This continues rotating, it's not opening at all. So whole world is rotating in a particular way, and there is no way any catastrophe will happen. Because of one moral law. You call it God, you call it nature, you call it by any name you like. Nature's laws are infallible, impeccable, unviolable. Prakritir je vibhinno niti ache, law ache, keu atikram korte parbe na, kokhono ote mithya hote pare na. Suppose you go to sleep with a bunch of candles by your side. Mombatiর একটি বিশাল বস্তা নিয়ে বসছো তুমি। কেন মোমবাতি কেন? কালকে ছোটার সময় একটা মিটিং আছে আমার, 5:30 কিন্তু সূর্য ওঠার কথা বলা আছে, কিন্তু ইদানিং জানেন তো কর্মসংস্কৃতি এত অবনতি হয়েছে, পশ্চিমবঙ্গে সূর্য ঠিক নাও উঠতে পারে। So I am keeping these candles. পাগল বলবে তো? Why? Because you believe in the laws of nature to be true. Laws of nature কখনো অন্যথা হতে পারবে না। কে বলল ওটা? What is the proof? What is the logic? What is the reasoning? No reasoning. There is a fundamental faith in the power of the laws of nature. They are inviolable. They cannot be transgressed. So faith in the laws of nature, we call it science. Science বলছে এটা এরকমই হবে, অন্যরকম হবে না। Orbit of the sun and the moon, orbits of various planets. Where will be the next century total solar eclipse, and when and what time it will happen, you can predict from here. But you cannot predict, as one of the great physicists mentioned this, the orbit of a common housefly. এটা মাছি এত মশা বসে আছে এখানে, এর অরবিট এরপরে কোথায় হবে? প্ল্যানেটের অরবিট আমি বলতে পারবো, কিন্তু মশার অরবিট বলতে পারবো না। এখান থেকে কোথায় যাবে কোনো ঠিক নেই। কেন? We cannot predict. There is nothing to be predicted. Why? Consciousness, life. Life যেখানে আছে, consciousness যেখানে আছে, সেখানে predictability fails. That is the beauty of quantum theory. Quantum mechanics, when it came into existence, the concept of probability, when it came in, some of the finest minds like Einstein resisted severely. It can't happen. Nature exactly knows how it is going to happen. Probability আবার কি? ইলেকট্রন কোথায় থাকবে তোমাকে জানতেই হবে। এখানে থাকতে পারে, probability of the electron being here is so much. নাও থাকতে পারে। What is the probability of a student of our university being in his room at this time? If it is daytime, the probability is very small, maybe attending the classes. Classes are also over, but still the probability of being in his room is not very high. কোথায় ঘুরতে গেছে, খেতে গেছে। But what is the probability of being anywhere in and around Belur? It may be slightly higher. Even that he may have gone to Calcutta. So what is the probability of being somewhere in West Bengal? It will be quite high. এটাও হয়েছে ওখানে একজন খুঁজে খুঁজে পাওয়া যাচ্ছে না, ওড়িশা চলে গেছে, পরের দিন এলো আবার। So what is the probability of you being anywhere in India? That should be almost 1. But passport নিয়ে বিদেশে চলে যেতে পারে, বাংলাদেশে ক্রস করে চলে গেল। So what is the probability of you being anywhere in the whole universe? That is 1. Integral, triple integral, minus infinity plus infinity, of mod psi square d tau is 1. So it's called to normalize. You know, all normalize. The probability of it being somewhere, unless, what is the condition? It will be a particle should not decay. A stable particle. কোথায় খুঁজে খুঁজে এর মধ্যে ডিকে হয়ে চলে গেল ওটা। So the probability theory was a big blow to the world of reasoning. That's why the whole philosophy started. Reason says it has to be absolutely obeyed. But nature's laws are also so funny. Now it doesn't obey logic. Now they talk about fuzzy logic. It is not exactly 0-1 Boolean algebra logic. It could be this, it could be that. It is a point. See, there can't be any decimals in probability. Either it is 1 or it is half. Probability is 0.80, 0.82. The fuzzy logic says nothing clear can be talked about. It's a very fuzzy thing. So religion also, you cannot clearly say this is this and that is that. Ethics, he says, to manifest the infinite to the finite is impossible, page number 22. And sooner or later man learns to give up the attempt to express the infinite through the finite. This giving up, this renunciation of the attempt is the background of ethics. See how Swamiji traces all this. Ethics মানে বুঝো তো, নীতিশাস্ত্র, ভালো হবে, ভালো করবে, সকলে কিন্তু কল্যাণ করবে, কারো কিন্তু অনিষ্ট করবে না, কেন করব না? আরেকজনকে অনিষ্ট করে আমার যদি কিন্তু উন্নতি হয়, তাহলে ওর গলায় কাটতে অসুবিধা কি আছে? What is the proof? What is the logic? There is no logic in ethics. বিদ্যামন্দির আমাদের ছেলেরা বলতো, আমাদের সাধুদের খুব গালি দিত, আপনাদের জন্যই আমাদেরকে রেজাল্ট খারাপ হলো। এই রেজাল্টটা এত খারাপ হলো কেন? তো আপনাদের জন্য। কেন? এখানে পাশে একটা কলেজে সিট পড়েছে, এত উৎপাত, চারিদিকে সব টুকাটুকি করছে। আমি চিন্তা করে কনসেন্ট্রেট করে লিখতে 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 সময় চলে গেল। পাশে একটি ছেলে পুরো বই থেকে টুকে পাশ করে চাকরি পেয়ে গেল। আমি বললাম তুই করলি না কেন? এই তো আপনার সাহানা হতো, সাহানা অভিনক্ত, এই করে 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 ভয়ে কিছুই করতে পারছি না আমরা। এটা যে না হতো ওই দিকে থাকতাম, পুরোপুরি এটাকে বিশ্বাস করতাম, আপনাদের মতো হয়ে যেতাম, মাঝখানে পড়ে কিছুই পেলাম না আমি। No, this is a very serious allegation which has to be thought about. ওর হচ্ছে why not? মরাল হতেই হবে কে বলেছে? আমি কিন্তু আনএথিক্যাল হয়ে যদি ঐহিক উন্নতি আমার যদি হয়, যদি ধরা না পড়ি, কিন্তু ধরে না পড়ার অনেক উপায় আছে, দেন why not? What is it? না দেখো আমার মরাল, কে তোমাকে মরালিটি বলেছে? তখন বাড়িতে ভয় দেখাতো, ভগবান দেখছেন। তো ভগবান কোথায় নেই, তুই কে দেখে কোথায় দেখছেন উনি? এতগুলো লোক যাতা করছে, ভগবান দেখছেন না? কি করছেন বসে উনি? ঘুমিয়ে পড়েছেন নাকি? এইসব কিছু না, এইসব আনসেলফিশনেস, পিউরিটি, এগুলো শুধুমাত্র মানুষকে ভোলানো। This is a very strong argument against ethics. So Swamiji traces where ethics comes. Infinite cannot be expressed through the finite. You give up this attempt. Renunciation is attempt in the background of ethics. Renunciation is the very basis upon which ethics stands. There was never an ethical code preached which has not renunciation as its basis. Renunciation means the I. Ethics says not I but thou. Its motto is not self but non-self. The vain ideas of individualism to which man clings wherever he is trying to find that infinite power, that infinite pleasure through the senses have to be given up, say the laws of ethics. You have to put yourself last and others before you. The senses say, myself first. Maga. Myself first. See how the same things are now repeated. Ethics says, I will hold myself last. What is the problem with the Maga theory? Maga means I will always be first. First America, first my country, first me, then I'll worry about others. তাতে কি প্রবলেম একটু বুঝতে পারো? সমস্যাটা কি হতে পারে? You will become completely isolated. ঠিক আছে করো তুমি? Can anybody live in isolation in this world? Greatest country, greatest human being, whole thing is interconnected and therefore interdependent. Science says this, religion says this, philosophy says this. Pratyekti muhurte we are dependent on the entire nature. নেচারের উপরে প্রতি মুহূর্তে ডিপেন্ড করে তো আমরা বেঁচে আছি। জল বায়ু ইত্যাদি আমরা নিচ্ছি নেচারের কাছ থেকে। নেচার সেজ অল রাইট, তুমি ইন্ডিপেন্ডেন্টলি চলে যাও, আমি বায়ু আর জলটা তুলে দিচ্ছি, মনের সঙ্গে সঙ্গে মরে যাবে। এভরি ওয়ান অফ আস is inextricably intertwined, helplessly connected with the entire universe. সমস্ত পৃথিবী, সমস্ত জগৎ, অন্তরিক্ষ সকলের সঙ্গে আমরা কিন্তু সম্বন্ধ রেখেই কিন্তু জীবনটা চলতে পারে। ইউ ক্যানট লিভ অ্যালোন। সমস্ত কান্ট্রিগুলো এখানে যদি বলে ঠিক আছে তুমি মাগা করতে থাকো, কমপ্লিটলি উই উইথড্র all transaction with you, তোমার সঙ্গে লেনদেন কিছু দরকার নেই, তুমি কি করবে কিছু দেবে না, তাই তো? এখন বলছে তোমাকে পুরোপুরি ওয়েপন কিনতে হবে only from USA, রাশিয়ার দিকে তাকালেই তোমাকে কিন্তু উইথড্র করো না। All the countries, if they declare we will have nothing to do with America, we will be independent of that, in 2 days America will collapse. Nobody can be independent of anybody else. This is the fundamental law, not of religion or philosophy or ethics, of nature itself. প্রকৃতি বলছে তোমাকে বাঁচতে গেলে সকলের সঙ্গে ইন্টারকানেক্টেডনেসটা বুঝে নিতে হবে তোমাকে। প্রতি মুহূর্তে যেটা আমরা খাচ্ছি ঘুরছি প্রত্যেকটা উই আর ডিপেন্ডেন্ট অন এভরিবডি এলস। আইনস্টাইনের ফেমাস উক্তি আছে, 100 times a day I remind myself that my inner and outer life depends on the labors of other men living and dead, and that I should give in the same measure as I have received and I am still receiving. আমি যখন নিয়ে যাচ্ছি আমাকে দিতেও হবে কিছু। It's a huge cycle which is going on. This is the concept of yajna. Yajna means swaha. Swaha means I give up, I give up, I give up. I receive and then I give up. The cycle will go on. This is called pravartitam chakram in the Bhagavad Gita 3rd chapter. The huge cycle of existence is going on. I receive from nature, I give to nature. What is the simplest example which we studied in school? All the plants which are around me, even the grass on which I trod, huge buildings are coming up, you cut the trees everywhere. The result is, there is no supply of oxygen. এই সমস্ত গাছপালা আমাকে অক্সিজেন সাপ্লাই করছে, ও কি নিচ্ছে আমার কাছ থেকে? আমার কার্বন ডাইঅক্সাইড। অক্সিজেন and carbon dioxide বিপরীত স্বভাব। If you inhale carbon dioxide, you will die. If you inhale oxygen, you will live. Just the opposite in the case of a plant. তখন plant and a human being এর মধ্যে কন্ট্রাডিকশন আছে। বিপরীত স্বভাব। কিন্তু প্লান্ট প্লাস হিউম্যান বিইং একটা সিস্টেম হিসাবে যদি ভাবো, তার মধ্যে কোনো বিপরীত নেই, আমি যেটা দিচ্ছি ও নিচ্ছে। So we're living together in cooperation. This is called systems approach in management. Systems approach means think of everything as a system. সবচেয়ে বড় বিপরীত স্বভাব কোথায় আছে আমাদের মধ্যে, শরীরের মধ্যে বলতো? দাঁত আর জিভ। ওই ছোটবেলা থেকে ভাবতাম দাঁত এত শক্ত, জীব এত নরম, দুজনে কিন্তু মিলেমিশে আছে। কিন্তু জীব কখনো ভয় পায় না। আমি যে কথা বলে যাচ্ছি, কতবার কত রকম ঘুরছি আমার জীবটা আমার মুখের মধ্যে। দাঁত না থাকলে কথাই বলতে পারতাম না। দাঁত তো অনেক সময় বয়স করে যায় না, বালা কথা থেকে দাঁত মোস্ট ভাইটাল ফর ইউ টু স্পিক। জীব কিন্তু নিশ্চিন্তে ঘুরে বেড়াচ্ছে, ইট ইজ নট অ্যাফ্রেড অফ দি টিথ। So they form a system inside the mouth and there is no contradiction. So the fundamental principle in nature is non-contradictoriness. Bar Swamiji bolechen. God is the supreme being in which all contradictions meet and lose their contradictoriness. ওরকম শব্দ আমরা ইউজ করি না। Contradiction বলে যে concept which is only an artificial concept in our mind. প্রকৃতিতে কোনো কন্ট্রাডিকশন নেই। Huge, all of nature is arranged in such a way there is no contradiction. There are wild animals, there are mild animals. There is a huge system in which everything is correctly placed. সেজন্য উনি বলছেন এখানে, ইন্ডিভিজুয়ালিজম, you cling to that. আমি ইন্ডিভিজুয়াল, আমি সেপারেট, আমি একা সব পারবো। I don't depend on anything as you can't. আমি ডিপেন্ডেন্স ছাড়া করব কোনো দিন কেউই বলতে পারবে না, ইভেন ফিজিক্যালি, সাইকোলজিক্যালি, মেন্টালি, স্পিরিচুয়ালি। You have to put yourself last. The senses say, myself first, maga. Ethics says, you put yourself last. তুমি নিজেকে লাস্ট রাখো, সকলকে সাহায্য করো, everybody will come to your help. Initially খুব স্ট্রং বলে মনে হয়। What is America? What is the age of American civilization? Not even 500 years, maybe 300, 400 years. Colombo exposition, Swamiji went there. What a key chilo? 300, na? What is the... Swamiji went to Chicago Parliament to celebrate what? 200th year or 300th year of civilization? Anybody knows? Google. Swamiji যখন গেলেন to celebrate the how many years of civilization of America? American civilization hardly a few hundred years. We have lived for thousands of years. See, when you compare, unequal comparison is not allowed. তোমরা তো কালকের শিশুও নেই, দাঁতও বেরোয়নি ওদের। আমেরিকা বলে এন্টিটি ছিল কি কোনোদিন? হোয়াট ইজ আমেরিকা? হ্যাঁ, স্বামীজি গিয়েছিলেন। তারপরে 100 বছর হয়েছে ধরো, 150 বছর হয়েছে ধরো। ইটস হার্ডলি 300 ইয়ার্স। আমাদের হচ্ছে 10,000 year old civilization. আমেরিকা বলে কান্ট্রি ছিল না, এখনো নেই। ওয়ার্ল্ড ওয়ারের সময় সমস্ত ইউরোপ থেকে সব পালিয়ে গিয়ে আমেরিকাতে সেটেল করলো। আইনস্টাইন caught the last ship which took him to USA. He was running away from the Nazis. How many Einsteins have been killed by Hitler, we don't know. He was systematically eradicating all the Jews. Jews are the brainiest race on the earth. Quantum physics, সব তো Jew. Schrödinger, Heisenberg, Einstein, সব তো Jew. Heisenberg, হ্যাঁ, না জার্মান গুলো তো ultimately trace करते हुए दिखते हैं. So now what I am saying is, extraordinary brains chill over there, and they were systematically massacred. All of them migrated to USA, and therefore USA became great. So if you say, I put myself first and eliminate everybody else, again it will fall. Anyway, that's his problem. He himself ultimately has to leave. So he says, ethics says put yourself last. Why? Then you will get help from everybody. Ethics, all codes of ethics are based upon this renunciation, destruction, not construction, of the individual in the material plane. The individual has to go, and in its place should come the universal. That infinite will never find expression upon the material plane, nor is it possible or thinkable. So man has to give up the plane of matter and rise to other spheres to seek a deeper expression of the infinite. Perfect self-annihilation is the ideal of ethics. People are startled if they are asked not to think of themselves as individualities. Swami used to make fun of the Westerners. You are so terribly afraid of your individuality, losing your individuality. You are not individuals yet. You will be when you become universal, Swami used to say. So your individuality, what is individuality? Thinking that an individual completely cut off from the universal. Take the human body. All the cells in the human body, billions of them, continuously they're cooperating with each other. Just the tongue is cooperating with the teeth. Every cell in the body is cooperating with every other cell so that the body can be happy, healthy. If a couple of cells say we will be independent, Maga, and we will not cooperate with anybody else, we are first and we shall put ourselves first, then you get an illness called cancer. So there is a cancerous cell which want to cut away from the universal stream and declare independence of the entire cell system. So you can't. You have to be with everybody else. That's why he says, the moment you say I am an individual apart from everybody else, the moment you declare independence of the universal, that moment you die. That's what he is trying to point out here. So it cannot be in the level of matter. Now he is asking another question. Utilitarian standards. In those days, utilitarianism was a very famous philosophy. Everything should be useful. Useful jodi na thake, tale wohi theory has no meaning. He gives another example here. Theories of astronomy were taught to school children. A chotto me uthe bollo, sir, will it bring my candies? It understands only candies. Philosophy pore, astronomy pore, amar ki hobe? Amar ajkan same question we are asking as adults. Tale chakri babo hote. Knowledge. What is the use of knowledge? Eta koi chinta karo tumra. Application na thakle knowledge er kono mulya nahi. This is what we are now heading. The present government is also encouraging app chai, app. Appo nahi, kichu nahi, na pache, kichu nahi, but knowledge for its own sake. This is a huge debate in the world of science, in the world of philosophy, whether knowledge by itself has any meaning. Pure knowledge ke pursue korle, tomar kichu lav ache ke na, shita posta theek ache ke na. In India, we pursued knowledge for knowledge's sake. Many people say we are so backward because of that. Application nahi hai, bhav hi nahi hamra. Cultivate knowledge. Nahi jnanena sadrisham pavitram hi vidyate. There is nothing more sacred than knowledge. Knowledge gives you so much satisfaction. You deeply delve into some problems of physics or mathematics, etc., and discover something, and you feel so excited and so happy. What does it give you? तो पेपर बेरे में तो तुम्हार postdoc Pitaparo. But that is not the only benefit. Pursuit of knowledge itself has its own value. The hunger for knowledge, this is now absent in the educational field. Education madhye amra bolchi, knowledge should be for something else, not for itself. Pursuit of knowledge itself is sacred. Pursuit of knowledge itself is a great exercise. Knowledge for its own sake. Application da arbi pore. None of the fundamental discoveries found their application immediately after the discovery. Onek সময় লাগলো. Positron. When was it discovered? 1925 or something. In cosmic rays they found it. That came out because of Dirac's equation. The plus or minus ache na. Dirac ke plus or minus ache. Then I said, why should the minus be ignored? What is the formula? I forget. E square equal to? Now, if you take the minus also, then how do you explain this? You know the famous theory, Dirac said, the sea of negative energy electrons, which are not seen, but one of them crosses the border and go to the other side. There's a hole which is created there, which is called the positive electron. That is the theory, that's all. Nothing was proved. But the intuitive scientist which Dirac was, found out this has to be some particle. In cosmic rays, Anderson discovered it several decades later. Many of the discoveries like that. They were not immediately proven, nor were they immediately applicable. Application came much, much later. Electron microscope. Wave particle dualism by de Broglie. De Broglie, only one paper he wrote, that was his PhD thesis. Nothing else he did and became immortal by that. See, intuitive idea, very simple. Once again, students of particularly physics I know, other subjects I know very little. All of you should, being students of science, should realize there is a philosophy behind every discovery. Find out the philosophy behind it. What is the nature of light? Big question. Newton said light is corpuscular. It comes in a straight line through particles. How does it get reflection? Some waves of, there is some impulses of repulsion and attraction, and goes to reflection, etc. So that's the theory. Light is corpuscular in nature. Then came the wave theory, interference, diffraction, that could not be explained through corpuscular theory. Then parallelly the wave theory also went. Some people said, are there two kinds of theories of the same light? In some experiments it behaves like a particle, some other experiments it behaves like a wave. Photoelectric effect. Unless you consider light as a particle, you cannot explain it. Maxwell's theory will say, for the electron to emerge from the metal, it will take several millennia. But instantaneously it happens. So then they said, light is both a wave as well as a particle. Now, light is a vibration. Vibration has a wavelength. If a wave has particle nature, then somebody said, what is the nature of light? Nature of light is a quantum. Later on, Max Planck, 1900. See how these people thought philosophically. So it's a quantum packet of energy, and the quantum of energy is proportional to the frequency of radiation. And the proportionality constant is called the Planck's constant. Planck's constant is one of the pillars of science. A small little fellow H that covers everything. E equal to h nu. When this went on for a long time, then the philosophical principle is nature is symmetric. This is a fundamental principle in science. Why? Because Symmetry is related to beauty. What is beauty? There is an axis of symmetry here. Both the hands. Suppose you go like this. Ugly fellow. Because there is no symmetry. One eye is here, the other eye is here. There is no symmetry. When people do the decorations, all of you do the decorations, I used to watch very carefully. Vishal at a rangin sheet nilo, that a bhaj karlo, random katlo. Open it, you have a beautiful design. Why? First you create an axis of symmetry. Afterwards everything falls in place on both sides. That's why nature is considered Sundaram, Satyam, Shivam, Sundaram, Shantam. Saundarya, beauty, is the quality of nature. Nature has to be beautiful. Beauty is related to symmetry. And how is symmetry related to truth? See, Satyam, Sundaram. How is beauty related to truth? Symmetry is beauty. How is symmetry related to truth? What is truth? That doesn't change. What is another word for not changing? Invariant. So, symmetry is related to invariance. What is the theorem? Noether's theorem. She is a lady. Noether's theorem says symmetry is related to invariance. Invariance is truth, symmetry is beauty. Satyam and Sundaram are connected. So nature has to be symmetric. So deeper I thought, if a particle or quantum can have wave characteristics, a particle also should have wave characteristics. If a wave has particle characteristics, radiation has particle characteristics, as in the quantum theory. Radiation has quantum characteristics. So particles should have correspondingly wave characteristics. Simple formula. E equal to H cross K. E and P form a 4 vector. The H cross, of course, is a constant. P equal to H cross omega. From this equation came the wavelength of a matter wave. E equal to H cross, E equal to H cross omega and P equal to H cross K, right? So, this is intuitive, there is no proof for this. Intuitively you know. Why? Because E and P form a 4 vector, omega and K should form a 4 vector. This once again comes from relativity. If this changes, that also will change. So from that you work out a simple formula and you know the wavelength of a particle which is moving. This was an outstanding discovery of De Broglie. From there so many things happened. So why not beam of electrons be used in place of light? Then the amount of magnification is huge. They think of electron microscope. The applications came much later. Finally, the fundamental philosophy, fundamental faith in nature's symmetrical and beautiful existence. Nature is symmetric, nature is beautiful, nature is truthful. So from there you go a very long way. What is another famous discovery based on the symmetry idea? A conductor carrying electricity behaves like a magnet. That was known. So if electricity can produce magnetism, magnetism should also produce electricity. Why? Symmetry. So a magnetic flux, when it changes, electricity will be produced. So the whole thing, if you just carefully look at physics and various points of view, the whole thing is based on a fundamental philosophy and observation of nature. আমি কেন বলছি আমরা মেকানিক্যালি পড়ে যাচ্ছি তো ফিজিক্সটা, আমি যখন ফিজিক্স পড়াতে এসে বলতাম ছেলেরা প্রচণ্ড বিরক্ত হয়ে যেত, খালি ফিলসফি বলবেন না, আপনি সিলেবাস শেষ করুন। See, you should understand the beauty of the whole discovery, how excited these people should be. Analogy with nature. Nature ke dekhe eragam hote pare kina. Microcosm, macrocosm have the same fundamental mechanism. They have a unity between microcosm and macrocosm. What is the most outstanding discovery coming out of that? Atomic structure. The fundamental positive core, which is called the nucleus, was discovered through large angle alpha scattering. But how the negative electrons are placed around that is not clear. Because atom is electrically neutral. The positive charges should be exactly countered by the negative charges. Electron was found by Thomson. Positive nucleus was found by Rutherford. They are standing independent. How are these placed? All kinds of theories were tried. They failed. Rutherford one day was very rejected, looking at the window. In the morning he gets up, takes his tea, and then saw the sunrise. That's it. Just like the planets are moving around the sun, electrons are moving around the nucleus. Problem. Any accelerated charge will radiate energy. Now, this has a centripetal acceleration. So goes on losing energy unless it will spiral, fall into the nucleus. How to prevent this? You know how you prevented it? Huh? Simply he said there are certain orbits in which it will not disseminate. There is no logic. There is no proof. Because otherwise it's back calculation. Whole of physics is based on back calculation. If you do it in the laboratory, you will be punished. If you do it when you pass out, you will be rewarded. With whole thing is back calculation. How do you know? We see that the atom is stable. So we assume there are certain privileged orbits in which it will not radiate. How do you determine privileged orbits? Then the angular momentum, etc. You know, it will be integral multiples of angular moment, integral multiples of H cross, and so on. So, from this was proved much later. This is the intuition of a scientist. He just said, let us take it that it will not radiate. How do you know? I don't know. If it radiated, the atom will not be there. And therefore, the atom to be stable, it should not radiate. Let us take it like that. Let us see how it goes. Much later, it was proved in Schrödinger's theory, etc. You know, the hydrogen atom theory. Why I am saying this? Copy from nature. See the parallels between nature, microcosm and macrocosm. Analogy with nature. Observation of nature is extremely important in science. Not even physics. In biology and everything else. Nature has a system and try to find out how nature functions. Unfortunately, in our system of education, we have completely eliminated this. In ancient times, they did not have any laboratories of that kind. They observed nature. How nature is functioning, how nature is moving around, how all the animals and plants are moving around. So from there, you learn from nature and develop your own sciences. Analogy. Analogy is also very important. One of the ways of proving a theory. What is the famous physical discovery based on analogy? Nuclear model. Everybody said what is a nucleus was not known. We know that neutrons and protons are in the nucleus. What is the nature of the nucleus? How does it look like? Weizsäcker perhaps one day must have opened the tap. There is not much water in the tank. So water was coming drop by drop. That's it. Nuclear should be like a liquid drop. Just an assumption. In physics, in science, these are called heuristic models. Heuristic means not rigorously proven, but still through a gut feelings, through a kind of assumption, through an intuitive understanding, heuristically you say there should be like this. Then I compared in equidra what happens, surface tension forces, all that, compared with the nuclear, and then he came out with what is known as semi-empirical mass formula, Weizsäcker. When we were MSc students in Madras, Weizsäcker came to speak. Oh, really, it's a charming thing to meet such people. He was a German, as you know. He spoke about the philosophy of quantum mechanics. One word we could not understand. So, they were not so much interested in physics as in philosophy. All physicists, all scientists should be philosophers. So, from there you observe nature and draw conclusions. But nature has been created by whom we don't know, by God or whoever. So, nature is a perfect system. You see nature, how perfect it is. One small mistake nature will not do. So all laws are extremely well defined except when there is consciousness and life. Even that we are struggling to find out. So from there developed the liquid drop model, which could explain fission and fusion. But then you had the shell model, the magic number, that could not be explained by this theory. Then we had shell model of the nucleus, completely diametrically opposite theories. But both of them were successful in different situations. Then somebody said we should have unified model. See, why I am saying is how human mind is penetrating into the mystery of nature. Add something, try something. Then there's a small thing, add something else. So continuously it's a movement from truth to truth, as Swamiji said. Ultimately you go to a different truth. Every discovery of science is based on this idea. You borrow from nature through observation, through intuitive understanding of nature is functioning. From there you find out discovery. Based on the idea nature is beautiful, sundaram, nature is truth, satyam, and what we are missing is nature is shivam, it will be auspicious. Science says I am not worried about it. I discovered the atom bomb. Whether you use it for killing people or use it for nuclear energy, I don't care. Now a time has come when nature, the world says science should care. Scientists should care. Huge pacifist movement, Einstein, Oppenheimer, all of them. Huge pacifist, Bertrand Russell. They are so terribly alarmed at the way nuclear physics was being used for destructive purposes. So human mind is so clever, it uses everything to destroy others. That's why Swamiji says here, utility as the basis is too narrow. Ethics itself is not the end, but means to an end. Why should I do good to other men and not injure them? Is happiness the goal of mankind? Why should I not make myself happy by making others unhappy? Now go to the page 26. There's one sentence which is put in italics. This is the key sentence. Man is man so long as he is struggling to rise above nature. And this nature is both internal and external. Mark this sentence. A human being is considered a human being, not an animal, because he is struggling to rise above nature. Nature puts you into some constraint. Man says no. Swamiji gives the example. Man is born to conquer nature. Why is this building here? Nature says live under the trees, under the sky, be exposed to sunlight, be exposed to thunder, be exposed to rain. And terrible cold, man says no, I will prepare sweaters, I will prepare all protective mechanism, I will build a building in which I will live. So man is man as long as struggling to rise above nature. But this nature has to be internal as well as external. Not only does it comprise the laws that govern the particles of matter outside us in our bodies, more subtle nature within, which is in fact the motive power governing the external. It's good and grand to conquer the external nature. Grander still is to conquer the inner nature. So he says there's a huge inner nature which needs to be understood and conquered and transcended. I'll give a simple example. Everybody has a dream. Not the usual kind of we should dream a dream, etc. So ordinarily when you go to sleep, most of us, if not all of them, don't have sound sleep. The psychologists and the doctors say, hardly a few minutes you have dreamless sleep. Some kind of dream always comes to you. Now, what is the space in which these objects exist? We don't ask such questions. This is the space in which all of you are, but we see elephants and horses and chariots in dreams. Where do they exist? They are subtle forms of matter, but at that time you don't think they are subtle, they are very real for you. What is the space in which they exist? So Vedanta says, just like this Mahakasha, there is another Akasha, it's called Chitta Akasha, the mental space, in which these objects exist. There's the inner nature in which these things exist. And when you go to deep sleep, you find nothing. So there are different kinds of Akasha, the Mahakasha, Chitta Akasha, Chidakasha, and so on. So keep exploring within, and you find so many mysteries which are not solvable. Human sleep is something which is unknown to scientists, So many experiments are being performed. NIMHANS, the famous National Institute for mental health and not rehabilitation, NIMHANS. So scientific discovery of neurosciences. Huge experiment they have found just what is sleep. We don't know what is sleep. We sleep every day. There are fundamental things which are of the inner world. Outer world also we know very little. The inner world also you have something. What is thought? Thought is only subtle matter. And matter outside is only externalized thought. Before you think of anything, you think of that in your mind. You plan a building. You plan the building in your mind, then project it outside and build a building. So it's only internalized matter. Matter is only externalized thought. If it is so, what is the space in which thoughts exist? Just like this existence in the Mahakasha, it's called Chitta Akasha, the mental space, and so on. So he says, it is grand to know all these external things, conquering of the inner man, the understanding of secrets of subtle workings that are within the human mind, knowing its wonderful secrets belong entirely to religion. Religion asks you to go inward and find out the secrets of the internal world. Human nature wants to see big material facts. Ordinary man cannot understand anything which is subtle. But the more and more you explore, the subtler and subtler truth becomes. From solid facts and truths that we learn from religion, religion as a science, as a study, is the greatest and healthiest exercise for the human mind. The pursuit, page number 28, pursuit of the infinite, struggle to grasp the infinite, the effort to get beyond the limitation of the senses and to evolve this spiritual man, this striving day and night to make the infinite one with our being, the struggle itself is the grandest and the most glorious that man can make. Some people have great pleasure in eating, he says. We have no right to say he should not. Others find the greatest pleasure possessing certain things. Prachur jinish kinda accumulate kore rakbe. Use kore na. Juto kota ache, ekshod pair juto ache amar. Or mera shari ek gada rakbe. You konotin use kore na. Chila pant with a wardrobe tuli atu. So accumulate certain things, we feel happy. This is what he says. We have no right to say they should not. But they should also have no right to say no to a man who finds his highest pleasure in spiritual thought. I mean, spiritual thought, Ananda Korchi, why do you object? You find pleasure in material things. I find my pleasure in something else. Let us not quarrel. Very few men can eat a meal with the same gusto as a dog or a wolf. But all the pleasures the dog or the wolf have gone, as it were, into the senses. The lower types of humanity in all nations find pleasure in the senses, while the cultured and educated find it in thought and philosophy, arts and sciences. Spirituality is still in the higher plane. How much money is being spent on this Boimela, this book fair? How much money is spent on this film festivals? What is the actual utility? How much money has been spent on this Kumbh Mela? Those who do not want it, let them not participate, but we have no right to criticize. Some people feel happy exactly at that time. Today is Mauni Amavasya. At that time, the Mauni Amavasya, if we take a dip, greatest blessing of God. Crores of people feel like that and have a dip. Why should anybody else have an objection? You don't take a dip if you don't like. But you find great joy in eating, somebody feels great joy in moving around, and adventurism. Why should anybody go for adventure? Swamiji asked this question. Rock climbing. Human beings cannot climb a rock. But a small rat or a squirrel can quickly climb a They have the capacity. So with so much of difficulty, you are the climb dragon, etc. Why? Adventure. You risk your life in order to climb the peaks of great mountains. Why? Is it for the benefit of science? No, science can go without you. Is it for any gain? No. So much money you waste on that, if you think it is a waste. But the urge in the human spirit to go higher and higher, to explore and adventure. What is the meaning of adventure? Why should people go for adventure? Risking is life. Where human mind cannot keep quiet, it has to explore, go higher and higher, think higher and higher, do something which others have not done. What is the big thing in imitating a squirrel or a ant or a rat? Rat can quickly climb like that. ছোট্ট একটা পাখি কেন বসে আছে, তুমি এরকম করে ওখানে বসে থাকবে. Man has to need a helicopter to go from here to there. You can't fly. A mosquito will challenge you. এখানে বসে আছো, ওখানে চলে গেলাম, দেখছে. Nothing can be done. Mosquito is a challenger to you. He can do things which you can't do. Why should a man go for adventure? You tell me. Religion, chheda dao. Because there is some urge in human mind to explore something, some thrill and something that you do which is out of the ordinary. You want to conquer the Everest. There are some people who want to explore within. Our scriptures say, and many great people said, there is a great joy within. You can explore and explore. A huge world of luminosity opens before you. Go on exploring. If I close my eyes and explore within, why should you have a problem? পাগলের মতন কি এটা বসে বসে করছে? তুমি পাগলের মতন মাউন্টেনে যাচ্ছ কেন? সকলেই তো পাগল. ঠাকুরকে বলা হলো, এসব পাগলামি ঠাকুর বলছে সকলেই পাগল. কে টাকার জন্য পাগল, সেখানে মেয়ের জন্য পাগল, সেখানে পদের জন্য পাগল. আমি না ঈশ্বরের জন্য পাগল হলাম, তাতে কি হয়েছে? So everybody has, human mind has an urge within. Somehow you should do something extraordinary. Somehow you do something which is profound. You should do something which is exciting, which is thrilling. What is the purpose? Have you discovered anything new? Nothing. You come back and say, these are my pictures, these are my videos, etc. And people exploring wildlife. There is a society, this time they came and spoke also, Wildlife SOS. You can find it on the internet. Wildlife SOS. The founder is called a Bear Man, is Karthik Satyanarayanan. Whole life is devoted to saving and exploring wildlife. An elephant is ill somewhere, he will go and rescue that elephant. Then tigers, lions, bears. He's called the Bear Man of India. What is the earthly use? You may be killed anytime. Do something which is extraordinary, do something which is exploratory, do something which is challenging. Human mind always will like a challenge. Challenge chada, মানুষের মন থাকতে পারে না। গতানুগত এটা গেলাম, তার সকালবেলা উঠে অফিসে যাওয়ার মতো আর কি। 10টার সময় অফিসে গেলাম, ক্লেরিক্যাল কাজ করলাম, চলে এলাম। Why do people do research? দুটো পেপার বেরোলো, তাতে কী হয়েছে? How many papers are produced in a day all over the world, in all subjects? কত হবে? Billions. তার মধ্যে তোমার একটা দুটো স্টুপিড পেপার বেরোলো, না বেরোলো, তাতে কী হয়েছে? But still you feel exploration. I want to do something challenging. আর কেউ করে না, আমি এটা করে দেখাবো। So the challenge is always inviting the human mind. I want a challenge. Some people take the inner challenge. Our scriptures say, the Rishis says, and Swami Vivekananda says, Ramakrishna says, I've seen God as I see you. Can I not see? You can also see. Follow this method. Yes, I will follow. After 40, 50 years, I find nothing is happening. Don't be depressed. It is possible. I'll try again. কত সময় কিন্তু করে করে কিছুই হচ্ছে না, রিসার্চে particularly. Don't be depressed. The challenge is important. Human mind takes challenges. That's what he says here. As human mind broadens, the spiritual steps broaden also. Time has already come when a man cannot record a thought without its reaching to all the corners of the earth. Swamiji says, in those days. Now, every thought by anybody at this moment here can reach the corners of the earth in a second through internet. Says, religious ideas of the future must embrace all that exists in the world and is good and great, at the same time have infinite scope for future development. And he ends by saying, what is required is a fellow feeling among all types of religion, seeing that they stand or fall together. A fellow feeling which springs from mutual esteem and mutual respect, and not condescending, patronizing, niggardly expression of goodwill, unfortunately in vogue at the present day. তো ওটা সম্পূর্ণ ভুল, তোমার রিলিজন আমি জানি, যা গিয়ে আমরা ঝগড়া করবো না, তুই থাক ইত্যাদি, কিছু বুঝিস না তো। Not condescending, patronizing, ঠিক আছে তুই থাক. To bring about this harmony, then he says, what is needed between the types of religious expression coming from the study of mental phenomena, those expressions of religion whose heads, as it were, are penetrating the secrets of heaven, feet are clinging to earth, the materialistic sciences. So how to make a bridge between the materialistic sciences on the one hand and the spiritual sciences on the other? To bring about the harmony, both will have to make concessions, sometimes very large, sometimes painful, but each will find itself the better for the sacrifice and more advanced in truth. In the end, the knowledge which is confined within the domain of time and space will meet and become one with that which is beyond both, where the mind and the senses cannot reach, the absolute, the infinite, one without a second. That's the end of this. So what he is saying is, there is a travel. Man wants to explore. Without exploration, man is dead. He is exploring in so many ways. People who can cook well, how many kinds of recipes they are experimenting. Sometimes you used to wonder, গিয়ে দেখো বড় বড় হোটেলে, রেস্টুরেন্টে কত রকমের খাবার হতে পারে। They are exploring new recipes, combine this with that. So human mind always explores. Everything has a variety. And once upon a time we used to say, let us accept variety. They used to say tolerate. Then said no, don't tolerate, accept variety. Now we say celebrate variety. Variety is the source of life. Let there be all kinds of variety. Hundreds of thousands of lotuses, let them bloom. Because nature is so full of variety, of beauty, of infinite message to the human mind to cultivate the truth behind that variety and bring about a happy harmony. Thank you.